What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report and economic update for Thursday, June 2nd. So there's a lot of stuff that we need to cover in today's video, so let me break down what we're going to discuss. Here are the 5 things that we're going to go over in today's video. First, the Biden administration is going to provide $2.1 billion to strengthen our food systems. However, this doesn't mean we're getting added benefits to SNAP and EBT, so I'll address that in a minute. We also know the Biden administration is going to cancel student debt for over 500,000 students from Corinthian colleges. I will address why that is. We also know that Senator Joe Manchin stated yesterday that cutting prescription drug prices is the one thing that Democrats must do in 2022. We are also hearing warning signs of summer energy blackouts while the Biden administration attempts to transition to a greener tomorrow. It's a little bit troubling, but this is potentially going to happen this summer, and I'll explain why. And lastly, I want to address the increased payrolls in May, how this is the lowest number we have seen in many months, and how one CEO says consumers still have 6 to 9 months of spending power left, so it shouldn't be too worrisome. So again, that's what I'm going to discuss in today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can ask your questions down in the comment section below. All I ask is spend 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, as it really does help out the channel. So let's talk about the Biden administration providing $2.1 billion to strengthen our food systems. Here's what we know. First, I've seen a lot of reports. I've seen a lot of different articles and things on YouTube and on just social media in general. People are assuming that the $2.1 billion means it's going to SNAP beneficiaries. That is wrong. This is coming in different ways, so it means no additional benefits will be going to you on your EBT card. So if that's what you were told, that is not 100% correct. Here's how the $2.1 billion is coming, and this is going to be coming from the American Rescue Plan and the funding from that. This is how it's going to be divided up. $900 million is going to be going to food processing, workforce training, and supply chain infrastructure. We've got another $550 million for small food businesses and reducing food waste. Another $375 million for organic and urban agriculture projects. We got $370 million to boost public access to healthy food. And then there's another $400 million to establish regional food business centers. That's what we are being told. Now, in addition to this, the USDA is still working with Congress to try to secure a longer-term funding package, which their farm bills last for 5 years. But reports are now indicating that Congress has already started working on their 2023 farm bill, but negotiations are expected to start very soon. So that's what we're hearing regarding nutrition and food. If you got any questions on that, again, ask your questions down in the comment section below. But here's another thing that the Biden administration is working on. And I really want to touch on this because there's a lot of people that have been discussing this. Now, here's what you need to understand. A lot of people have been saying, yes, the Biden administration is canceling student debt. Well, they are. And their plan is to cancel student debt for millions and millions of people. As of right now, their plan is to cancel 560,000 debt for 560,000 students who were attending the Corinthian colleges. Now, this right here will be one of the largest for-profit education companies, or they were one of the largest for-profit education companies. Now, the school has been accused of predatory and unlawful practices and are facing numerous lawsuits and have been for years. So this is why this cancellation is coming in. The cancellation of debt is going to come in about $5.8 billion. Again, this is the largest amount forgiven by the Biden administration. And the Education Department has said that not only will the debts be forgiven, but any previous payment that was made on their debt will be refunded. So not only are you going to get your debt forgiven, but any amount that you paid towards that debt is going to be refunded back to you. That's incredible. So it's interesting to see what was going to happen there. But let's talk about what Senator Joe Manchin has said. Because what he has said is that cutting drug prices is the one thing that must be done. And even Senator Bernie Sanders is agreeing to exactly that. Senator Joe Manchin, he has been completely against passing the entire Build Back Better Act. But the thing is, it contained this measure to eliminate, not eliminate student debt, but to help reduce the cost to fixed income households, people on Social Security, seniors. That's what it included. He's been against this entire time. But this is also one of the reasons why lawmakers don't completely trust him when working on a deal, because he's flipped back and forth on the same things for quite a while. But in Senator Joe Manchin's speech that he gave yesterday, he said, and I quote, "Drug pricing is something we all agree on. If we do nothing else this year, I think we can do a lot more. But if we do nothing more this year, that's the one thing that must be done." And then he added, "The waiting game is over. The time to act is now." So here's the interesting thing about that. Senator Joe Manchin, he has been on record multiple times saying, let's wait and see. He did this regarding when we were trying to get more stimulus passed, right? He did this when it was, okay, well, we see inflation's going up, but we should still pass more benefits to the American people. And he went on record saying, let's wait. Let's wait and see. But now he's saying the waiting game is over. The time to act is now. Well, we'll see what happens. But what is tricky about the situation that Democrats have put themselves in is that they need to get a deal done before midterm elections. And honestly, if a deal is going to get done, it would need to happen before their August recess, because if nothing happens until after August, it's likely that nothing would pass, especially through a budget reconciliation. And I wouldn't assume that Republicans would be eager to pass any bill through a bipartisan measure. I just don't see it happening. So we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about the big warning. And I'm going to address this for a second because this is something that we've seen in the past. The warning that we're getting right now is that experts are warning us that the summer energy blackout could happen because of Biden's transitions. That's what we're being told. The reasons for these blackouts are due to the increased temperatures in the South and the Midwest. And according to estimates from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, they say that temperatures across the U.S. will be between 50 and 80% higher than normal. Now, as we've seen from previous years, increased heat cause problems, right? The South is not meant to see that kind of heat, nor are they meant to see the increased colds, right? Freezing temperatures. That's why we're seeing these blackouts, is because our infrastructure can't handle it. Now, what Republican commissioners are asking for is for the Biden administration to stick to a slower transition. And they're saying this because if we do not transition at a slower rate, then shortfalls will not be avoidable. But at this time, many experts argue that no matter what, when a transition to go green happens, that there will be shortfalls, and we have to plan for this. But here's what I want to show you, okay? I want to show you this really quick. Right here, okay? I want to read you this. It says, under these efforts, because what's trying to happen is President Biden has a long-term strategy to decarbonize the U.S. by 2050. Well, under the efforts, okay, each of the North America's 6 electricity grids are going to see power capacity declines over the next few months. Here's what we know. The Texas grid, okay, which faced significant outages over the winter storm Uri in February of 2021, and I addressed this here on the channel as well. This is set to lose 2.9 gigawatts of gas, coal, and nuclear capacity this year. Okay, that's the Texas grid. The grid run by Bear is actually going to lose 3.2 gigawatts of power capacity owing to retiring coal plants that are not being replaced. Okay, again, not being replaced. This is part of the issue. Our infrastructure cannot handle what we are going through at this time or what we are expected to go through very soon. So we'll see what happens there. Now, here's the last thing I want to address. And again, I addressed this a little bit yesterday, but I want to touch on this again today. And the last thing, according to ADP, they say that private payroll increased by just 128,000 in May. Now, this is a huge decline from the 299,000 that Dow Jones estimated. This is a pretty big decline from the roughly 250 to 260,000, I believe, that others were reporting. And as I said yesterday, a bad jobs report is considered a good thing from the Federal Reserve's standards. And I said this because the Federal Reserve is trying to tackle inflation. They're not worried about a recession. The Federal Reserve, do they want us to go into a recession? No. But if we do go into a recession, are they going to be losing sleep over it? No. Because that's not the job of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has a very specific job. They don't want us to go into a recession. But at the same time, if they have to force us into a recession in order to lower inflation, the Federal Reserve is going to do that. But here's where the stats look very bad. Yes, we may have only seen 128,000 jobs or increased jobs from May, from last month. But this is where things are looking bad. Companies with less than 50 workers reduced payrolls by 91,000. With people less than 50 workers. Of those 91,000, the companies with less than 20 employees contributed to 78,000 layoffs. So small companies are laying off their employees at almost record paces. Now, most people would say, oh, this is bad. We can't handle this. But here's the thing. You look to somebody like the JP Morgan Chase CEO, Jamie Dimon. He says stimulus is still in the bank accounts of consumers. And consumers have between 6 to 9 months of spending power at this point. Now, whether this is true or not, well, we're going to see very soon. But what I can tell you is that, yes, people do still have money, but which people have money? Is it the lower income households that have less savings than they did, in the pre-pandemic years? No, they don't have the money. Is it the middle income households? Potentially. Or is the people that are making, $400,000 or more that have the money in their bank accounts? That's what experts are saying. That's what people are telling us is it's the rich that have the money. But yet when you look at everything across the board, it's like, oh, there's all this extra money and there's only so many people in the United States, so obviously everybody must have a little bit. But that's not necessarily true. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise, I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.